Hello everyone, we are group 5. So today we are talking about the grammatical function. Our presentation are divided into 6 parts. We start with the first one, identify the subject. So how to identify subjects? The most best way to identify the subject of a clause is to ask the clause what is called a tag. The pronouns in the tag refers back to the subject of the clause. We have two examples. The first one, Maurice doesn't play the piano, does he? As you can see, does he is a tag, Maurice is subject. And the second one, yesterday was so much fun, wasn't it? Wasn't it a tag and yesterday is a subject? We move to the next part, the characteristic of subjects. We can identify subjects by other formal characteristics. The higher rainfall region are indicated. Here is one example. The subject pronouns as noun group. Example: he didn't take care of his children yesterday. As you can see, he is a pronoun. Certain kinds of clause can also function over subjects. Like that clause, we have a that clause example. The idea that the teacher should know everything is unacceptable. The second one is WS clause. Do you know who started the stay race? And the WS clause in the sentence is who started the stay race. The third one is to verb clause. Examples: to be a good teacher must require a lot of qualification and skills. And the last one is a verb in clause. Staying in safe seems harder in the hometown. Next. The second characteristic of subject is declarative mood clauses. The subject is normally the noun group or nominal group, which immediately precedes the predicate. We have examples. The first one, some courses don't begin until November, and the second one is I saw him last week. As you can see, they are the same as in all the previous examples. So we move to the next part with my partner, Quỳnh Hoa.
So my name is Nguyễn Quỳnh Hoa, and I am responsible for the second part, identifying finites. Firstly, is the way to identify finites. Finites can similarly be identified by the addition of the tag, which picks up not only the subjects, but also the finite of the preceding clause. For example, online teaching has some drawbacks, doesn't it? So we have the subject is online teaching, the tag is doesn't it? So the finite is does. The second one, this man over there is our professor at university, isn't he? The subject is this man over there. The tag is isn't he? So the finite is. All right, so moving on to the second part of my parts. So what are the characteristics of finites? Firstly, if a verb group contains a finite, the finite will always be the first constituent of the verb group. For example, Marina was meant to pick her mother at the airport. So was meant to pick is a verb group, and finite is the first constituent. It is was. The second one, we have to remember that if the verb group contains only one word, That word may function as finite. For example, he painted. So painted is a verb group. It is also the finite. The second characteristic of finite is that only finites are marked for tense. For example, Anna didn't get up late this morning. So didn't is a finite and refer to past tense. The second one, Anna tends to get up late. The finite is tense and is referred to the present tense. The third one, the third characteristic of finites is only finites are marked for a number agreement. Their form change according to the number and person of the subject, and especially through the verb be. For example, the average temperature in Vietnam is quite high, so it is singular. The second one, the sales representatives are persuading me to buy their products. It is plural form. You have to remember some points in this part. The first one is number distinctions are neutralized in the past tenses. There's no unique form to agree with I, and also there are some finites which show no agreement at all, such as the modal auxiliary. So the second part, the next part is um, my my partner. We tell you about the next part.
So I'm Thu Huế, and I will talk about the third part about the non-finite clauses. And non-finite clauses are the clauses which lack the function finite, and there are four main types of non-finite clause. The first one is to infinitive clause. The second one is bare infinitive clause. The third one is verb in participle clause, and the last one is ed participle clause. And you can see, for example, with four types of clauses in the screen. And let's move to the details. In the verb forms, verb ins such as the being, having, making, or eating, and the verb infinitives like to be, to have, to make, or to eat. There are always the non-finite so clause containing verbs group beginnings with the forms will be non-finite clause. And I have two examples in here. The first example is inviting your sister will not a great decisions. And inviting your sister is the verb in clause. And the second one is they expect Mary to do all the work. To do all the works is the two infinitive clause. And the second one, the verb forms, verb infinitives or verb eds may be finite and non-finite in some case. In the first example, Tom leaves his house without any complaints. Tom leaves his house is a finite clause. And the second example, what Tom does is leave his house without any complaints. Leave with his house without any complaint in here is a function as a non-finite clause. The third one is verb ed forms, and some verbs with irregular finites, such as the wrote, throw, spoke, also have the separate non-finite forms, such as the written, driven, spoken, or been. And the example here is the first one, the author wrote these novels in 2000s. The author, this clause is the finite clause, and in the second examples, written in 2000s, these novels then became a classics. Written in 2000s a non-finite clause. So we move to the first part about difference between the finite and non-finite clause with my partner.
My name is Hằng, and in this chart I have comparison between finite and non-finite. Thirdly, you take a look carefully at three groups of sentences in this table, especially highlighted words. In sentences in group A, we have the verb like and eat. The verb like take on different form in six sentences in the group because of their subject. But the verb sing has the same unchangeable form in all sentences. Group B is two. We have verb be in different form because of their subject and the unchanging verb form of the verb watching. Instances in group C, we have a verb one in different from form because of their tense, and the verb buy is unchangeable form in all sentences. And like the verb like B1 finite verb which make finite clause, and it what by called non-finite verb which make non-finite clause. And now I give you some difference between finite and non-finite. And you know that the center of clause is verbal group, and so we want to distinguish between two kind of clause. We need to consider what type of verb in this clause is. The first difference is that why finite clause must contain a verb with short tense, and this verb is controlled by subject and tense. Non-finite clause contain a verb which doesn't short tense, and this verb is affected by subject and tense. The second difference is that finite clause can be main clause or subordinate clause, but non-finite clause are only subordinate clause, and it is always attack the main clause. And the last one is that when using finite clause, we need to understand important things like agreement with subject, tense, and aspect, voice, and mood. However, non-finite clause are used to you when the subject is the same as subject in the main clause. So verb of this type is the first one is after some subordinating a conjunction such as after or before. The second one, these verbs are formed as a infinitive or the gerund. And another one is they are formed as reduced relative clause. I have some examples. The first sentence is that we didn't get any food because we didn't go to market. This sentence includes two clauses, and both are finite clauses. It's so past tense by the word didn't. And the first clause is main clause, and the clause after because is subordinate clause. And about non-finite clause, I have three sentences. The first one is, after having bought enough food, we came home to prepare dinner. The non-finite clause is after having bought, and it is after conjunction. The second one is I prefer reading book. The non-finite clause is from the gerund after verb prefer. And the last sentence is that the boy sitting here is my brother. It is formed as relative clause. And the next one, my partner will talk about it.
Hello, I'm Huyên, and I will present about part 5, learning and teaching subject and finite. Finite and non-finite verb forms do not
have a regular distinction, but mastering the function of subject and finite from the beginning is important for second language learners. There are some problems when learning subject and finite as follow. The first one is about advanced learners sometimes use a non-finite verb group where a finite verb group is required. For example, she becomes more and more angry until she shopping with me. In this sentence, in the second clause, we can see she is subject and shopping is non-finite verb. So we need a finite verb here. So we can use a non-finite clause with neither subject nor finite. Until shopping with me, or a finite clause with both functions. Until she goes shopping with me. For more example, we can see on the screen. The first one is about the second problem is that lack of subject finite agreement. It means that subject and verb in a sentence must agree in number. They both need to be singular or they both need to be plural. Lack of subject finite agreement is quite common in native speaker, but in formal written, it is regarded as unacceptable. For example, one of my friends like to cook Italian food. In this sentence, it had an agreement arrow. One is singular and like is plural. The problem lies in the identification of one rather than my friends of the noun group, which is functioning as subject. And for more example, we can take a look on the screen. The first one is there are many reasons to disagree about politics. Reasons here is plural and it is singular. And the second example is neither Sam nor his friend wants to miss graduation. It has agreement error is that friends is plural and wants is singular verb. And now we move to the next part with my partner.
Okay, my name is Van Fu. I'm going to talk about more functions, which is object, complements, adjuncts, and predicator. Okay, first of all, the object. I got definition right case mean followed by the finite and the rest of the verb group, and second one in like subject. They are typically realized by now group, and the second one is a characteristic of object in that they can normally become a subject of related passive clauses, as in passive voice. For example, the letter is written by Tony is a passive voice of the sentence. Tony write a letter. So the letter is subject. Okay, there are two indirect there are two sub-object, two main objects mean indirect object. For short is IO, and direct object for short is DO. And indirect object is mean the indirect object of a sentence is the repetition of the direct object. The direct object is the thing being acted on by the verb. For example, Paula passed the father parcel. So in the indirect object is her father. And about the direct object, it's mean a word or phrase denoting the receiver of the action of verb. For example, me in his likeness is a direct object, and both objects can usually become subjects or related voice. Example, she will give me with homework. So me is indirect object, homework is direct object. And then I will got passive voice right here. I will be helped with housework or housework will be given to me. Second one, we got complements. The definitions right here is clause which have linking verb, such as be, look, have, do not have object, and they call it complements. For example, I have a boyfriend, you look beautiful, and I am a student. Okay. Subject complement is the adjective, noun, or pronoun that follow a linking verb. Example of linking verb right here is to be, to smell, to seem, to taste, or to look. For example, Liz is weak, so Liz is subject, is a linking verb, and the adjective weak is the subject complement. It tells us something about the subject, it completes the meaning. About the object complement, an object complement is adjective, noun, or pronoun that follows the direct object shown in the bold to rename the direct object or state what it has become. For example, we voted John chairman. So here John is the direct object of the verb voted, and the noun chairman is the object complement that complete the meanings. The noun chairman tells us something about the direct object John. It can be removed because it completes its meaning. Okay, but the third one is adjuncts. Okay, definitions say adjunct is a word, a phrase, or clause that it can be removed from a sentence without making a sentence grammatically wrong. So an adjunct is usually an adverb used to modify a verb. So when used an adverb, an adjunct will usually indicate a time, a manner, a place, a frequency, a reason, or a degree. For example, right here, the alarm went off again yesterday. So yesterday is the time. Present your case carefully. So carefully is a manner. The final factors is predicator. I will talk for short. Is everything in the verb group except finite. Remember, except finite. So predicator is identify the semantics role play a particular word or group of words in a particular sentence. For example, Tony went home. So went home is particular. So that's all for our present today. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.